Welcome to the Abolitionist Roundtable with your hosts Del, Phil, and Janice. Come on in and take a seat. You're invited to join the roundtable. Call 734-822-1600 to get into the conversation. And now, your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
And good morning. This is Phil Stargell of the Abolitionist Roundtable. Today we have a pretty exciting show. We have an in-house studio guest. Excuse me. But first of all, we want to, as usual, bring the lineup in, and that is Del Marsh and former Mayor of Troy, Janice Daniels, and just let them have a quick say, and then we're going to get to our interview.
Well, I'm just going to say go Michigan. Big game today.
Oh,
go
yeah.
Michigan.
Let me ask you, while we're at that, give us a quick on our website.
Absolutely. You're right, Phil. I want to say again, you can visit our website at artofmichigan.com. You can go to YouTube, put in Abolitionist Roundtable Michigan, and you can listen to all the shows, all our previous shows, and by Monday you can listen to this show right here. Forward to all your friends. Also, when you're on our website, if you click on the WHAM logo, click on that WHAM logo, and if you're on the move, you can listen live to this show right here. And then we have something else on there. It's called Tune In. You can click on Tune In, and you can listen live. We have a petition on there. Stop the invasion petition. Click on that. I want you to go ahead and sign that petition. And we're going to talk about later on in the show, Phil. I talk about if that we're having a 5th annual Holocaust tour. That's on the website too. You can register for that.
Yeah, well, we definitely need that.
Yes. And then one more thing I want to mention, if you want to send us an email, I'm going to read the emails right now, and we'll address your questions. For those that don't want to call, send us an email at art@whamradio.com. And I'm reading those emails right now. We'll discuss, as we go about this show, we'll discuss those comments or questions also. All right, back to you, Phil.
Okay, we have the honor of having a gentleman that just got his first copies of his book, and we are the lucky first people to do this introduction to this very important piece of work that has been done by the gentleman that is a caller to the program, a regular listener, and somebody who's been active in politics for a number of years, and it is really a honor to have him here and to have did a little bit of input with this book with opinion, and in my opinion. Of course. Although I know
we're just full of them, aren't we? Full of something anyway.
But we have in the studio this morning David Bruce Fleury, and the name of this work that he's put together is The Negro Project, a look at the life and a look at the work of somebody that is, in my estimation, notorious. And so it is a work on Margaret Sanger. And Bruce, it is a real honor to have you in the studio with us this morning.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, Janice. Good morning, Phil, and good morning, Del. I really do appreciate this opportunity to come out here and tell you folks a little bit about the book. The book is called The Negro Project, and the subtitle is Margaret Sanger's Diabolical, Duplicitous, Dangerous, Disastrous, and Deadly Plan for Black America. And I know that sounds like a mouthful, but I hope to provide a mouthful of food for thought for just average Americans who really just don't know what has taken place over the past, since the early 1900s, with the rise of the progressive movement, the birth control movement, and Margaret Sanger had played such a large part in it, and it turns out, considering the organization she founded, Planned Parenthood, very, very disastrous part for our black brothers and sisters, folks of color. And the reason I wrote the book was, there's reason twofold, is Phil and Del and Janice. First of all, as I mentioned, history. I consider myself a student of history, and all history, fascinated by it, not just the good stuff, but the bad. And Planned Parenthood, this whole thing certainly does certainly does qualify under that score. We are so historically illiterate in this country, guys. If you look at our test scores and that, we are our students, they really don't know anything about history. And this is a very dark chapter in American history. The Negro Project, guys, was an enterprise devised by Margaret Sanger, which was aimed at, well, I guess exterminating. Exterminating is the right word to use.
Well, that's the word she used.
Yeah, an entire group of people based upon one thing and one thing only, is their color of their skin.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about it is that does not resonate at all with the people, and I fault the media for being the one that hides the rocks that she threw.
Yeah.
Because you've heard the old saying, somebody throws rocks and hides their hands. Well, she never wanted to hide her hands. She wanted that information out there.
Yeah.
But the media has put a cloak of darkness around the intent and the effect of the work that she did. Yeah,
and you're absolutely right, Phil. And that kind of leads into the second reason why I wrote the book. As an American, it rips my heart out, guys, to see an entire group of people, our black brothers and sisters, the black community, just ripping itself apart. I mean, you have the highest murder rate, the highest rate of drug abuse, you have the highest incarceration rate, you have the highest high school dropout rate, you have the highest percentage of single family households headed by the woman, by the mother. You have the highest percentage of out of wedlock births of any demographic group in America. And on top of it, you have the
highest rate of AIDS.
Of AIDS. And also
the highest abortion
That's right.
rate.
Yeah, and it's over 33%. In some states like California, New York, it's higher than that. It hovers around over 40%.
There's two types of abortion.
Sure.
And this is never put out there. There is the abortions that are done by
in the clinics,
in the clinics by people who have the means to pay for them themselves.
Right.
And this is a very high rate of upper class people.
Right.
But the abortion rate in the clinics that are primarily for poor people and visited by poor people, the percentage in those clinics are much higher than in the 30%. They're in the 40%.
Exactly.
So they're almost half as many of the abortions are being committed on black women.
Well, Phil, one of the chapters of the book has to deal with demographics. And if you study demographics, you'll find that the absolute minimum number of live births per female, this is known as the fertility rate of the replacement level, is slightly over 2 per female, which only makes sense. You got to have somebody to replace mom and dad, right?
That's exactly right.
But because of all this we just mentioned, all this devastation, the bloodlines that have been severed, the carnage of the streets, the blood, the streets running red with blood of people that are alive and the unborn. The replacement level in the black community doesn't even approach even 1 live birth per female.
Well, Bruce, isn't that actually what the progressives want? I mean, this was not just something that happened.
Right.
The black community was drawn into the welfare mentality.
Correct.
And so that destroys their desire to contribute to society, which of course increases the rate of crime, etc.
Right.
Margaret Sanger is actually a hero of the progressive movement, so that also played into it. It's just, it all seems to have been orchestrated effort, and they've done very well. Progressives have done very well at creating the environment that they have for the destruction of the black race, which is just phenomenally difficult to understand on a human level.
And J.S., that's a great point. And because of this minuscule, anemic, not even anemic, replacement rate in the black community. I mean, it's lower than most European countries.
Oh yeah.
Spain's like what, 1.6 live births? I think because Mark Stein in one of his books had just outlined, had gone down country by country. They're not even replacing themselves.
Yeah, I think. Where are we? Somewhere like 0.6 or 0.8?
0.7. 0.7.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like Reverend Hunter, Johnny Hunter, who from the Life Education and Resource Network, pointed out in an interview for the book, because he was one of seven, I call the Magnificent Seven, folks that that are really out there fighting the good fight, including Brother Lee at Joshua's Trail, Ellis Washington, Ron Edwards here locally. He said that we do not know what we've lost. Not only have we lost 25 million black children alone who could have grown up into being their peak earning years, starting families, innovating, that type of thing, inventing, engaging in commerce, or simply just living lives and, well, as I like to call it, being the kind of people upon whom great republics are built. We don't know. We don't know who would possibly be able to be finding a cure for cancer or for AIDS? Who would be the first?
Or for the plague that this current group of progressives believe is the biggest scourge on the face of the earth, global warming.
I'm going to cry.
Well, maybe if Al Gore would hold his breath a little more often. And speaking of Brother Lee, I've got to commend him, because he was the one, ever since I started listening to Joshua's Trail down the dial, and the first time I listened to him, I mean, this man's words spoke to me, and he would mention repeatedly the Negro Project, Margaret Sanger, the Negro Project, and I started thinking, well, what exactly is all this? And I started to do my research, my diligence. Finally, after probably a couple of years, I know we talked about it before I actually started writing it. I had been mulling it over in my head for a year or two beforehand. Mm-hmm. But finally, I said, I got to get this down on paper. Mm-hmm. I got to tell a story. And this is a story that's largely lost to American history. We don't teach these things, or if they were taught a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And people don't know what the Negro Project was about, by and large, because they weren't taught about it. They weren't taught what it involved. Exterminating people, sterilizing them. See, Margaret Sanger was publicly opposed to abortion, but then, if you think about it, she didn't have to endorse it. She wanted to sterilize people. She wanted to prevent people that she thought were unfit, inferior, unworthy of having their descendants brought into the world.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah,
that's
not to be able to conceive them in the first place.
Yeah, that's her prime objective, was to accomplish that end.
Right.
In what she is doing now.
Yeah.
People have taken over the idea of what her original intent was and put it to their own thing by saying things like, "You're taking away my right," or "You want to infringe on my right."
Right.
But they don't realize that the right is to take somebody's life.
Yeah.
They look upon this baby in the womb as a nobody, a non-person, and we talk. In the black community, you hear people talk about Supreme Court decisions such as Dred Scott and
Roe v. Wade.
But before that, where they're saying that a man is only 6/10 or 5/10 of a man, or and whenever that is brought up, you can hear the indignation all across the nation by people that swear up and down that the people that put that decision in place were the most racist of all.
Yeah.
But to look at a real decision on racism, at least they allowed this man to live his life as half of a man, or whatever, 6/10 of a man, or whatever the number was. These kids in the womb are being snuffed out before they ever draw a breath of air.
What crime have they committed?
Yes, exactly.
What crime have they committed? We are.
Well, the crime that
of being unwanted or unplanned.
They were black.
Yeah,
you understand. That's what Margaret Sanger thought that the crime was. What they were born, they were black, and they were expendable, and they were a nuisance, and they needed to be eliminated from the face of the earth.
Well, that's one thing about being able to go back and research. And in this day and age, with social media, access to the internet, all you have to do, if you're computer literate, if you even know how to turn on a computer and you can spell, you can click on to a website or to a search engine, type in anything you want, hit the button, and boom, you will see a whole, just a whole volume of page after page after page, article after article after article about say Margaret Sanger. You could say Al Gore, climate change, all this sort of Barack Obama, and you could find just tons of information. And
now that gives us the idea of a general idea of why you wrote this book. But what is the objective after this information that's in that book gets out? What is your plan from there? What do you hope will happen by people gaining the access?
Well, Phil, what I want to do first of all is I want to start waking people up. Too many people have fallen asleep at the switch. You know, you see where they're shocked by all the release of these videos about Planned Parenthood, you know, doing what they're doing. It turns out that despite Cecile Richards' claims to the contrary, these videos were not, you know, doctored, were not heavily edited or anything like that. CMP, Center for Medical Progress, has all the videos on, you know, right there for you to see, even the long ones or the edited ones. It's your choice. And see, that's one of the things we got to do is we have to make people aware of the level to which the so-called pro-choice movement will lie, even steal like taxpayer money and that sort of thing, so that their agenda can be brought forward or continue to be carried off. First of all, we got to get the book out there, okay? And people can, they can go to the publisher's website and they can order the book now. As the weeks and months unfold, the book will be starting appearing on Amazon. We have Twitter posts and all this good stuff that, you know, the internet has provided us.
And Bruce, that website for the publisher is?
It's okay. The website would be DORR. This is the ordering website. DORRORDR at Dorrance DORRANCE publishing.com.
Well, I wonder if they could have made it any more difficult.
And as I mentioned before, just a few seconds ago, to order the book over the phone, because it's available now for purchase, you can call the number 1-800-788-7456, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And mention the title of the book, the author, Margaret Sanger, The Negro Project by Margaret Sanger, Bruce Fleury, author, and and they can go. They get their very own copy.
Well, that is a great situation because aren't you going to have some appearances that you're going to be coming up this?
Well, part of the overall promotion strategy is to do book signings and that type of thing at bookstores and that sort of thing. That does take a little bit of planning, maybe a few weeks in advance prior to it. Obviously, the information is being sent out to media outlets and newspapers, like radio, talk shows, just like this one. Also, it's a whole comprehensive strategy. Out to the libraries, especially. I've asked the publisher to send a copy to the library at the University of Michigan.
Well, okay.
And Wayne State.
Well, we're coming up on a break,
sure.
And what I want to do is give my hope for that book.
Okay.
You see, the thing is, the book has so much information.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we haven't even touched it.
And what will the people do? What if they get this book? What will they do? Well, how will they react? My personal hope is.
Well, I know how some people are going to react.
That
Not too kindly.
we can be hopeful that this book will aid in putting the news to the people and telling the truth to the people.
Right.
And try to reverse some of the damage that's been done by the blinders that people have had on, especially the black community.
Right.
Now, what I mean by that is, look at what the cause is. We have an immigration crisis in this country because of a low birth rate of not only black people, but the white individuals in this country. And they have a low birth rate also.
And if people think that because the black demographic is so devastated by this, that it can't happen to the rest of us, they are in for a very, very rude awakening, Phil. It is happening. Yeah, it is happening.
Look at some of the other devastation that is happening. The high illegitimacy rate in the black.
It's going up in the white community too.
And it's going exactly right. They're following it. So all of the bad that come about because of the ignorance as to what the intent of this particular lady's legacy is, we've taken, as the black community, we've taken that original intent of Margaret Sanger and turned it into our own twisted logic. We're saying that this is a right. We have a right to kill our children.
Yeah.
We have a right to say to people, look, you should support my lifestyle because I have this right.
Well, that's the goal of propaganda, to tell a lie often enough that it becomes the truth.
Oh, yeah.
I want to just read something from Jeremiah 1. It says, God was speaking to Jeremiah. He gave him an assignment, and he told him, he said, before I formed thee in the womb, I knew thee. Mm-hmm. And I sanctified thee, I ordained thee a prophet. That's a God voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ordained him a prophet before the nations. Mm-hmm. He made him a God voice when he was in the womb, before he even came out of his mother's belly.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, I ordained you and sanctified you. Mm-hmm. Sanctify means set apart. Yeah. And so, and again, what you mentioned, we don't know if these, if liberals have already convinced people because you poor, you shouldn't have this child because you're going to bring him up in poverty.
Right. That was,
And we know that we've seen it over and over, that people like Ben Carson came out of poverty and became one of the most brilliant surgeons on the planet.
And he came from a very big family, right?
Yes, he did.
What do you have, 20 kids, 23 kids?
Not him.
His mom was busy.
And so he was, and we know that means that Ben Carson, just like he spoke to that prophet.
That's why I love that man. He's great.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so again, God sent the answer to all our problems, but we aborted it.
Yeah. And the thing is, they talk about sterilizing and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Think about people like Helen Keller, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
What would the world be like today if their parents, if their mothers were sterilized?
Well, let's look at
speculation.
The situation also. Mm-hmm. That what happens is you escalate the original. Oh, we are up on a break here, and we are back. And before we go any further, what I wanted to do was some of the legislation that has been passed surrounding the Roe versus Wade is the Hyde Amendment,
right?
And this calls into attention what's in the public today about the fetal tissue debacle that's going on.
Yeah.
And the people that are telling us that this is really a little sleight of hand by the people operating the cameras. They got all kind of excuses.
Right.
And you see how insensitive is the word that they always use. That what's her name? The leader of Planned Parenthood,
Cecile Richards. Yeah.
Did you see how indignant she got? As if what we're doing here is not any of your business.
Yeah.
Or whatever is going on. We're going to continue this.
Well, remember, Phil, that first denial that she issued just after the first couple came out. She said, "We apologize for the tone that was used by the woman, in the salad bar there at the restaurant, sipping her wine and stuffing her face full, and then the one who was saying, 'I want a Lamborghini.'" Ha 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 ha. Yeah.
Well, see, the
These
thing
people
is,
are cold, Phil. I can't. They lack a soul.
Well, you notice that,
and they lack a brain.
She made an apology.
Yeah.
Originally, and then I believe it was, was it Ted Cruz that was asking her what was she apologizing for? Did you see any of that?
No, I did not see that part. No.
Well, there was the questioning in the hearings.
Sure.
Somebody asked her, "What were you apologizing for when you originally made the statement?" And she would not say what she was apologizing for. The whole thing about it is the same attitude that you see out of Hillary Clinton.
Same arrogant.
That's exactly right. And they will not back down. They're going, but the people that vote for them expect that out of them. They want that out of them. If they back down, they will throw them overboard faster than anything you've seen.
And Phil, considering how much government largesse these people receive on a yearly basis, that makes each and every taxpayer in this country complicit in the slaughter of what so far. We have no idea exactly how many children have been butchered in the womb since before 1973. Planned Parenthood was performing abortions in New York as early as January of 1970. As early as 1970, well in advance of the Supreme Court decision in January 22nd, 73.
Because they had legalized it.
Yeah.
And I think there was another state that had also.
Right.
But I knew at the time, I was a teenager, and I knew of some people that had made a trip to New York to have an abortion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was a time. So that was the idea of putting this thing. But when they passed the Hyde Amendment,
right,
Henry Hyde said that he wished that he could stop abortions on all women.
Yeah.
But he was limited to stopping government funded. And so by that limitation being put on him, this is how we got a surge in the offices and butcher shops of the Planned Parenthood.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so what? I don't know if you know it or not, but the Hyde Amendment is not a law. A lot of people don't know.
No,
that.
it's not.
And that law,
just like the Mexico City policy is not a law.
Yeah. But what it does is, and this is what the Democrats really are railing against. They want to be able to have something known, just like when Hillary Clinton told this guy from Black Lives Matter that she was not interested in changing hearts and minds. She was interested in making laws that will give the people their God-given rights to certain things. That's what the whole thing is about. That's why I have said that the strategy that conservatives have got to figure out a way to do, and that is to rein in that Supreme Court, because the liberals have figured out that if they want a right, the best way to do that and get that right is to go through the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And they've been very right, and they've been very accurate in that idea.
Right.
That was the way to go to make things law.
Well, you're interested in what you said about the Supreme Court. There's a Supreme Court decision I bring up here in the book. It's called Buck versus Bell, and that was a Supreme Court decision that was made in 1927 with Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes presiding. And what it did, without getting down into the weeds and going over the whole thing and giving the whole thing away, because it's here in the book in the chapter in eugenics. Was that it codified or legitimized the state law, Virginia state law, mandating coercive sterilization for any number of subjective criteria. If you were drunk, you could be sterilized. If you were shiftless, you could be sterilized. If you were indigent, again, sterilized. If you had epilepsy, sterilized. All kinds of things, and this was referred to during the Nuremberg trials by one of the Nazi eugenicists who cited the Virginia law, and he also cited, if you ever watched Judgment at Nuremberg, Maximilian Schell, he talks about that, and he says with Oliver Wendell Holmes, he says 3 generations of imbeciles is enough. Yeah. Now, who in God's name is in this room or in this world is qualified to judge a person's worth based on their physical characteristics or on the circumstances by which they were conceived?
Well, you notice that the liberals are very, very quick to say things like, "Well, they are using religion to push their racism, their sexism, their homophobia." Man, and it is amazing how they are able to just obliterate the meaning of words anymore.
Okay, let's use an example here. Okay, I shouldn't shove my values down your throat. Yeah. Well, I don't believe in armed robbery. Yeah. But Del, I'm not going to stop you from robbing Phil if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing, and that's where so many conservative people, so many believers have been cowed. Like judge not, or you shall be, or let's be judged. The thing is, we have to make judgment. We have to make value judgments.
Matter of fact, it's a whole book. It's called Judges in the Bible.
Right.
A whole book on it.
And we have said many times in in what we do as being pro-life is that we have to change people's hearts and minds.
Right.
That is the most important imperative
Yeah.
that deals with this. You don't want to go tell somebody, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. But guess what? The liberals swear up and down that they're pro-choice, but they don't want to give you any choice.
The only choice they want you to have is to whether or not kill your baby. Okay, they don't want you to be able to choose what to eat, or what to drive. The ways and means in which you can heat or cool your homes.
Yeah. Let's don't even get into how you manage your money.
Right. Oh my God. They're too stupid. Don't you know that? Here they are. They're going to raise the debt ceiling. Early part of November, and here we all these apocalyptic stories of gloom and doom. 70% of the government still functions. The bathrooms may be out of the national parks, like I discovered during the last shutdown down in Harper's Ferry. But other than that, I didn't notice it. Washington wasn't a ghost town when we got there. It's like.
Well, see, the thing that what about this Hyde Amendment is that the Supreme Court upheld the idea of an amendment to limit the abortions to if you were raped or if you were a victim of incest or something like that. They did allow those limitations on it. So the liberals would like to take away those limitations.
Yep, for any reason.
Yeah.
At any time. At any time, like we saw with Kermit Gosnell.
Yeah.
At any time.
And that's exactly where we are.
Or any time within 2 years after they're born.
Yeah.
Like Peter Singer from Princeton University believes.
Well, you see.
Of course, he doesn't believe personhood begins until after 4 months of life. So,
and people warn people about the idea of legalizing euthanasia.
Yeah.
Right? So
California,
Washington, here
State,
we go,
Yeah, three other states.
Yeah, so, 2 years old, now it's translated to 75.
Belgian Parliament a couple of years ago.
And it's just like the article I read that a person is suggesting the minimum wage should be $1 million an hour. Because that's that snowball effect.
Yeah.
And it's constant. And it so much speaks of what Dell said. A return to godly principles is really the only way out of this. Because I don't care what kind of laws we write, because we have presidents that don't follow the laws that we write. I don't care what kind of neighborhoods we create. If we don't have a return to biblical principles of valuing life, and again, like the Constitution says, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, those are so fundamental. We've gotten away from them.
First and inalienable right to life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's go to our lines and see what some of our listeners have to say about it. We're going to go to Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, Bruce, congratulations on your publication.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. It was about a 3-year process all told. And
Hey, Janice, you were absolutely right what you just said about going back to godly principles. One of the things that we never hear, it's just like it's been cut right out of the conversation, is this thing called abstinence.
Yep.
If you can't take on the responsibility, the mental, the physical, the financial responsibilities of a child, you should not be having sex. I know that sounds something from the 14th century, but it's accurate.
It is.
There's a complete disregard for the responsibility of sexual intercourse and what it causes.
Yeah.
Baby. And it's very, how shall we say, academic.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even have to discuss it. It's so obvious. But everything that has been, even traditions, like what do they call that when you had somebody hanging around with you during a date? So you couldn't fornicate.
A chaperone?
A chaperone,
Boy, that's an old-fashioned term. I haven't heard that used in a long time, Gary.
But Gary, that's so true, because that's exactly what the Bible, what God said. He gave us this wonderful gift of sex, if you will. I can't think of a better word, but he gave us a wonderful gift. But he also said that this is reserved for marriage.
Matter of fact, he even said, flee fornication. Flee! Run!
Yeah.
So if you have a biblical underpinning, you don't even want to engage in sex outside of marriage.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And
you were talking about the eugenics. They were even thinking that you could sterilize the fornicators.
Well, the thing about eugenics, Gary, is they tried to create a perfect world, but the only perfect person I know of who walked this earth about 2,000 years ago was nailed to a cross for his trouble.
Yeah.
You have to have perfect people to have a perfect society.
Yeah,
and we're pretty darn fall short of being perfect.
And those people that nailed them to the cross are the predecessors of these people today that want to force their beliefs on you. They don't want to hear the idea of real choice in what you do in life.
Yeah.
They will force you to do what they want you to do.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yep.
the choices that they want are all based on unbiblical things: murdering unborn children, marrying someone of the same gender.
Yeah.
What else do they give you the
Stealing
choice?
all your money.
Yeah,
Thou shalt not steal. There you go. Seventh commandment.
And
Well,
give it to
I
somebody
believe that's
else.
the difference between a conservative and a liberal. A conservative wants to try every day to be as perfect as possible, and the liberal just throws it to the wind.
Yeah.
Says let everything fall where it lays.
No responsibilities. No,
Well,
no whatever.
Thanks so much for your call this
Thank you,
morning.
Gary, and we'll see you next week at Jimmy's.
Oh, speaking of which,
Yeah.
we're getting close down to the final minutes of the show. What is your current position in the group that meets at Jimmy's on Saturday?
Well, just like Janice here, we're both members of the Leadership Council. There's really no formal hierarchy, right, Janice?
That's what I understand.
Yeah.
But you make a very good. You're the lead of the meetings and chairman of the board. So
Well, you guys, you and Barb and Kyle, when he's there. When he's there, they everybody does a great job of contributing, and
What is the current name?
it's the Tri-County Liberty Coalition. TLC, yeah. Everybody needs a little TLC now and then,
And so here's the thing. When I asked you about strategy, what to do with the information,
Right.
people, what people need to be doing is that right now you see that there is a concerted effort. If anybody watched those debates the other night with the Democrat Party, you saw a coronation of Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just unbelievably angry at the fact that this was just from Bernie's, what's his name, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders,
He just basically said, Hillary, this is yours.
Yeah.
I'm taking.
Right.
And so what we see is yeah.
And he baited her and led her into more and more and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger and bigger government. He led her into it. So it was a debate of who was going to have bigger government. Matter of fact, I like how on David Horowitz's site, front page, they had something. The debate was idiot, liars, idiots, and just stupidity. 2 hours of just liars, idiots, and
I think
just
they included thieves in
stupidity. Because they want to steal every penny that you have. And then they want to. This climate change just kept coming up over and over and over and over. And this is why we have this book right here. It's about climate change. They believe we have too many people. That's why I said difference in what the right and the left position right here. This book right here,
Agenda
today,
21, United Nations,
and that's what it's about.
And population control.
Population control, and that's what they. And that's the difference that they believe. Parenthood is for the greater good of mankind, the greater good, because that we have 7 billion people on this planet.
Well, Del, I like to start every chapter with a quote or a definition, and in chapter 7 on the UN's Agenda 21, there's a this might sound like a familiar name. Do you know who John Holdren is?
Yes.
Okay, the lead science advisor to Obama. He stated, and I'm paraphrasing it right now, he stated that in a book called Eco-Science, which he co-authored with a gentleman named Paul Ehrlich, he stated that indeed coercive population control measures, including forced abortion, could be permissible under the existing constitution if the population crisis became serious enough to require it.
Yes. Because just think about this.
Think about that statement.
Yes, absolutely. Bernie Sanders, you notice, of course, you notice he kept throwing his hands up all the time. You want to get excited.
Like, he should have, I give up.
He pointed out, of course, we know he pointed out he want to steal all your money, but he pointed out that the greatest crisis today is not the Middle East, is not Iraq, or Syria, but it's climate change. Yeah. The greatest threat. We talk about 85, 90 degrees rain is considered the greatest threat to our planet today. Is the greatest threat to mankind today.
Would you listen to anybody listen to Prager yesterday?
No, I
or the
didn't.
day before?
No.
A gentleman named Freeman Dyson, who used to be in the nuclear freeze movement, and he's 100% Democrat, and he wrote an article. I'm trying to think what it was Prager was saying, but I'd have to listen back to the rebroadcast. But he said that he's really sorry that Obama is 100% wrong on climate change. He says more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is actually good because it is plant food. We need oxygen. Plants produce and supply oxygen through a process, first of all through photosynthesis, and then we have we breathe out the carbon dioxide, the plants take it in, and it just goes over and produce oxygen. And the thing is, it's a trace element. How in the world is a trace element going to kill us?
Yes.
So in other words, our education system isn't teaching history, and it also isn't teaching biology.
Yeah.
Oh God! any sixth grade science student
what
can
they
prove
are
that.
teaching is
Global warming.
and a little bit of gender
perversion,
confusion.
And I learned this in sixth grade science. The carbon dioxide levels do not increase until temperatures rise. It's not the other way around. They've got this. What they're doing is they're looking at the planet Venus, apparently, 35, 40 million miles away from us, which is completely different, a lot closer to the sun, has a different makeup, and they'll look at the clouds over Venus, all carbon dioxide. Well,
whatever
they're not in that. They're not. Venus is not in that little zone. Temperate zone that's just right. Not too hot, not too cold.
Goldilocks.
Yeah, the Goldilocks thing. Yeah,
but the whole idea of whatever is happening on Mars or Venus or whatever, where's the presence of man there? I mean, so
zero.
And their timing is changing. So
where were all the SUVs and factories and stuff 10,000 years ago when the state of Michigan was buried in a layer of ice a mile thick?
But we are getting close to the end of the show.
Let me point out one more thing. He pointed out, Bernie Sanders said that free college for all.
I was
Free college
Not
for
an
all.
adult in the room. That's what I told John McCullough. I said, for all these people's age and experience, supposedly, there's not a single adult in the room.
Yes.
Just give this away. Money grows on trees. Let's turn the printing press on.
Well, he said he was going to take that money, steal it all from Wall Street.
What?
Yeah.
And so
let's hear. I was going to play Hillary, but Hillary said that she was going to take the money from the rich.
Yes.
I mean, I'm saying, wait a minute. I've never heard anybody just flat out say we're going to make the rich pay for it.
Well, she did say we were going to take things away from you for the common good. The last time she ran for president, we were going to take things away from you for the common good.
Yeah. Well,
But it doesn't seem like the Clinton Foundation has any lack of resources.
What's the Latin for what's the Latin phrase for who will guard the guardians?
who will guard the
Who will guard the guardians?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't remember offhand. All right. Well, here, I just want to mention again, you can listen to this broadcast again. It'll be on YouTube, Abolitionist Roundtable of Michigan. Abolitionist Roundtable of Michigan. It'll be available on Monday. Last things, any emails, comments, send it to artofmichigan.com. Go to our website. It's a logo right on the side. It's a black logo. Register for our tour. Our 5th annual Holocaust tour will be November 6th. Remember, folks, this is our 4th year here on the Abolitionist Roundtable. This is a listener-sponsored show. We need your support, $5, $10, $1, whatever you can do. We need your sponsorship. Go to our website, whatever kind of gift you can give. Thank you. Back to you, Phil.
And, that was a great idea about letting everybody know that this is our 4th year on the air.
Fourth year.
But this is the
wow,
fifth year
that's time flies.
for the Holocaust.
Time really does fly. I didn't realize that. That's congratulations, guys.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Yeah. And
this is fantastic.
The thing about it is that this is something that is only possible because of the great people that run this station.
That's right.
And so, we have to always give the management their credit because they. And we will see you next week, folks.
Garden City, Michigan, 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.